Greetings, people of Kerbal. My name's Trent McGrath, and today we are going to start a 1.2 pre-release career. I will be carrying this career on through the pre-release and past the 1.2 release. Here we go. Start game. Start new. Difficulty. We're going to keep all that, keep all that, keep all that. Science rewards. We're going to crank that up just a little bit, just to help the grind a little bit. I think I'm going to do the same thing for the funds reward and match it. Funds penalties. Well, with the increase of reward, let's make it a little worse. I hate that decline penalty. No quick loading, no respawns. Yeah. Enable comm network, advanced. No extra ground stations. That's going to make it so I have to put a comms relay in. Yes. 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 That should make it a little bit harder. We're doing career and start. Thank you. Yeah, shut up. Alright, I've got 25 grand. We're going to go to launch our first vessel and science data. Standard. Fair. Going to do that and that one. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to thrust limit this. Not too much. About halfway. And the reason why is so we go just a bit higher. We're not fighting the atmosphere on the way up. As always, check your staging. And save and launch. This is going to be very, very, very simple. Now, what we're going to do is we're not going to get science from the pad here. We're actually going to get science while we're in the air. There's a little bit more science to be had doing it that way. So, SAS, space, and as it stands, it's still too much thrust. Okay, there's those sonic forces, Mach effects. And that is what we're trying. There we go. Now we should break 10K with this. Wait for it. 9, 10. And still climbing. Crew report. 4.6 science. We're going to keep it. 12. Wow. So basically, we, said, all right, we're not going to push against the atmosphere as hard, thus giving us a tad bit more delta V, giving us a little bit more height. And I think, yep. 7,000. I forgot what the next altitude record was. Oh well. recharge a crap ton. I suppose at some point I should deploy my parachute, right? And here we go. We're going to set that to open just a little bit sooner. Now what that does is it dictates when this canopy opens. Starts opening at 2,000. There we go. And since this is going to take forever, so I have been playing Kerbal Space programs since very early 2013. I've been playing for, I want to say, yeah, 3 years, 3.5 years. Some of you will know me on the Kerbal forums. I am very much a lurker. I very rarely actually participate in conversations as I hate typing. I cannot get my thought processes out in an appropriate manner, and I tend to offend. So, let's not do that and avoid the situation. Alright. And recover. That should give me a science of 22. Next. Next. And next. Woohoo! And my mouse is double clicking on me again. So we got basic rocketry, which gives us really, really cheap stuff. But we're after science, because science makes it so we can go through this quicker. This allows us to take better contracts, which gives us more of this. So we're going to grab that, leaving us with 17. I guess we can take that too. Alright, the next one we're going to take will be the survivability. This is more science and some extra parts. After that, stability for the decoupler. And then we will take general rocketry for that. I don't really need that. I don't really need that. And actually thinking about it, why is the Reliant before the swivel? I think it would be the other way around. The Reliant has no gimbal. The swivel is supposed to be the newer version. Huh. Well. Oh well. So now let's go back over here, and what do we got for contract? Splashdown, own flight, landed, escape the atmosphere. Well, we can try to do that. I'm not going to try to pick up any of these because I hate the survey contracts. I find them the most annoying. So now we're going to do this. Right? We're going to go back to the science tab. Look at that. We got a thermometer, which we're going to angle lock here, and a goo, which for the balance of the craft we're going to launch 2 up. For aesthetics, we're going to cram in like that because aesthetics. Communications, we're going to want communications to broadcast our findings back to the KSC. And where am I going to, you know what? There we go. That's not good. There we go. Drop that monopole down. Alright. Now we need to I do have a separator. That is going to make life a little bit easier. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to engines. Now we have the larger hammer. Now remember, the flea at 50% was just a little much. But that was with a raw pod and parachute. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to structural. We're going to set that there. We're going to pull out a hammer. And that's going to drop to 50%. Now, and the reason why, I believe the hammer has more thrust. Thrust 197, 227, 162, 192. So, okay, so it doesn't have too much more thrust. So we're actually going to crank it up just a little bit there. Aerodynamics. Just to help it along. There we go. Now what we're going to do is TRC Lance. Save. We're going to send this straight up like we did the last one. And it's going to come straight down. Hopefully, between the hammer and the flea, we'll have enough delta V to reach 70 km. Now remember, the flea by itself can reach us 10 km straight from the launch pad. So with the hammer included, we should, big bold letters, be able. This time we're going to gather science from the pad and way up in the air. That's why we're going to use antenna. So, here we go. Since we've already got a crew report from in the air, now we'll do our crew report as well. Observe mystery goo. Since this is going to get recovered, we're going to keep it. And log temperature. Keep it. And SAS and stage. There we go. A little bit smoother, still in the green. Now, when I use my liquid fuel rockets, I prefer to keep the thrust to weight ratio down on a smooth launch like this. I would also throttle down my rocket to keep the G meter in the green. For two reasons. One, I find this is, for me, it seems more efficient this way. And secondly, I don't like subjecting my Kerbals to pain and suffering. So, again, this should get us up to about 10K. Now, we'll run out of fuel about 8K. Or 9K, alright. Alright, now we're going to let these Mach effects drop. And stage. And again, I could have throttled it down a bit more. Well, it looks like we're not quite there yet. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We've got a lot of velocity. Oh. 40. 50. 60. 67. 69. 70K. Ladies and gentlemen, we've made space. So now, observe mystery goo. Keep experiment. Log temperature. Keep experiment. And review report. Transmit. Still going. Look at that. Done. Crew report. Keep experiment. Can't EVA them yet because we haven't upgraded anything, but it's there. Let's review the report anyway and transmit it. We don't lose any science from doing that. So now we're dropping. Ooh, we are out of electric charge. Well, let's see if we can get the chute to go. We are very much... If we can stage, we can get the chute to deploy, so I'm not worried about it. Okay. We're still in the red. Too high velocity. Come on. Not safe. Now we're safe. This little icon will be white, yellow, or red depending on how safe it is. Once it's deployed, it goes this, goldish color. So, I need to do this before I leave the VAB. And we're just going to let that go. There goes the flea. And yeah. So, not bad for our first suborbital hop. 2 flights in. Now, there's a way we can go get a whole bunch of science as well. What we'd do is we would spawn, and we're going to do this just, yeah. We're going to spawn a pod on the runway. And then Jebediah here is going to run everywhere in KSC and do EVA reports, and then run back and then do all that. I will more than likely do this at a later point when I actually have a rover, because that just is easier to do it that way. Old habits die hard. Cover. And how much science did we get? We should have gotten quite a bit. 80 science. We earned 47.3. We have 80 science. Got some extra funds. Nice. Alright. So, survivability first, because that's more science. It's also a heat shield. Okay. Stability we need for the decoupler. And general rocketry, we're going to use the back thrust thumper as the main stack for a while. Very much long time. Specifically until we get this. Then we'll switch over to liquid fuel rockets. But for now, we are going to maintain a solid fuel what's the word I'm looking for? Organization. Not quite it, but it's enough to convey. Launch stability enhancers. That's going to be handy later. So, there we are. I think that... what contracts we got? Orbit Kerbal. Well, I think we should be able to do that. And I think after we do that, that'll be the end. So we're going to take Orbit Kerbal. Now, I can do a whole bunch of other side stuff as well. Usually decline contracts and all that, but I'm not going to. What I am going to do is I'm going to go new. This is going to be the TRC Greenstone. That's a little play on redstone. The redstone rockets. And drop. Now, because we're going orbital, or at least that's the goal, we're going to need a heat shield. We're going to need communications on the pod directly. Now, we don't need drogue chutes, but I prefer to have them. Whee! And just for the aesthetics of, we're going to drop these in just a tad. There. Works for me. Alright, stage, the orbital stage. Now the service module, since we're going orbital, is going to have our science in it. No need to have duplicate experiments in this one. Because we are just going orbital. There we go. Good enough for me. We need engines. Now we do have a swivel, and we're going to need it for deorbiting. So we're going to use this tank with the swivel. We're going to separate. From Thumper. As I said, this is going to be our new main stack. And just because I don't trust it by itself, we're going to use 2 hammers to start. So basically, the hammers are going to start us off the pad. Once they run out of fuel, we'll drop them. We'll use the thumper to gain altitude. And then the 45 and its liquid fuel should put us into a finishing orbit and go from there. Deorbit. We're going to rotate it because I like the ease of launching this way. But we are going to save this for another episode. Greenstone 1 will launch next episode. Until then, well, no spaghettifying your Kerbals.